Hey people, we're late, but we are in here. How are you doing? Come on in, come on in, come on in. Miss January, hey, how you doing? Pull this up over here so I can... Y'all come on in on this beautiful Friday night. Sincerely me Bree, hey, hey, hey. Timony, hey. Thank you. Lulu, hey, hey, hey. Kelsey, hey, hey. Stand up, be counted, hey. I ride solo, hey, hey, hey. Miss D, hey. Wish, hey. How y'all doing? Okay, this way I can see the chat better. These dimes, hey, how are y'all doing? How are you doing? Miss Fat, K-Baby, hey, how y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? TJ, hey, what is going on? Again, shout out to the dimes up in here. Shout out to the dimes. Latoya, hey, how you doing? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Y'all know what it is. Y'all know what it is. So we're going to have a little class in here tonight. So y'all go ahead, get your little notebooks and stuff, you know. Your little pen and all that good stuff. That good stuff. You know. Mm-hmm. I got you. I got you. Come on in, come on in. Ebony, hey, how you doing? How you doing? Which one of these is slow? I don't know which one is slow. No, I saw people reading it, so I guess you can say I didn't see it for myself. Oh goodness. Okay, one of these is moving slower than the other one. Trent, hey, what's going on? We are talking about criminal behavior tonight. That's what it is. We're going to get on this thing, see if we can break some of this stuff down. Kelsey K, you will have to inbox me, email me at Carolina Epiphany 843 at gmail.com, Definitely scared of the boo fa this season, and for Christmas you gotta let them know you don't want to hear no boo fa la la la. Oh, that's funny. Miss Debbie, hey, how you doing? How you doing? Thank y'all for coming on out tonight. Let us have some conversations. I want you guys to chime in. I want you to talk about, you know, what your thoughts are. Basic Mom, hey, how you doing? Before we get started, if you guys don't mind, please go hit that like button, then come on back in. I promise you won't miss anything. I'll wait. No rush. I took a couple of days off so I can take my time. So no rush. Thank you, Basic Mom. Thank you. For the people that didn't know what bouffale meant, I wanted to make sure that whenever I say it, that they understood what I meant. So, try to bring it all together. The man that stole the Clippers was granted parole. So we've been seeing a lot of stuff. Thank you, K-Baby. We've been seeing a lot of stuff, y'all. A lot of stuff. Lots and lots and lots of stuff going on. This week right here has been a mess. You know, it's just been a hot mess. You know, with folks doing drive-bys and all that stuff, you know. Yeah, K-Baby, go ahead. Folks doing drive-bys and all that stuff, and folks being accused of doing certain things, and yeah, all that stuff. It's just been a lot of things going on. There have been a lot of things that have been going on that are criminal in nature, not hot ham. Oh, I like that, basic mom. I like that. Oh my goodness. So it's just been a lot. You guys have been witnessing it. Y'all know what it is. What it means. She doesn't cuss, so she uses the term before. Thank you. Don't call me with no buffale today. Appreciate that. So you better get on it, doggone it. Vet, hey, how you doing? So I'm just looking at all this stuff, and I'm like, yo, like, yeah, do my words for me. Like, what is really going on? Y'all too funny. All right, Miss D. You digging me? Hey, what's going on? All these dimes in here. Hey. Nice to see ya. First thing I say in the morning when my alarm goes. It's all right, Kelsey. It's all right. Sometimes you feel how you feel. You know what I'm saying? You know, you feel. So I be thinking it. I might not see it, but I be thinking it. Best name. Hey, how you doing? So I'm just looking at all this stuff, and I'm like, yo. This joker say, can I have a dime? I'm a 50 piece. Only Trent, y'all. Only Trent. You hear me? Oh, he got 5 dimes. 5. So I want this. That joker silly. Oh, he is silly. So I've been looking at comments and stuff like this, and people like wanting to put a title. Oh Lord, they said Trent your butt $1. That's what Miss Fat said. I'm just saying. Don't blame the messenger. But I've been seeing people talking about, you know, mental illnesses, people talking about, you know, just wanting to put a name on all this stuff that's going on, you know, as of late. Now, I tend to of an area a little bit, you know, kind of like 5, 6, 7 days a week. So $500. So I just decided, you know, let's come on and put this stuff together. Let us put our heads together so that we understand some of what's going on. We need to understand some of the goings on so that you will really know what to call this thing and recognize it for what it is. Some people think it's just playful banter. You know, some people, you know, think it's this buffale right here, which it most definitely is. Some people, you know, everybody has a name for what's going on, you know. So let's start here. Now I'm going to read something to y'all. I hope y'all don't mind if I read to y'all. I don't like reading to grown folks, but in this particular instance, I need to read a little bit so I can like break this down, and we're going to keep coming back and forth, and we're going to have a little dialogue with each other. As I said, tonight class is in session. Okay, now, research. See that? See that? Research. I ain't say somebody said. Okay, research. Research shows that criminal behavior. Yeah, I said it, criminal behavior. Yes. Criminal behavior is not itself indicative of mental illness. Okay, so just participating in criminal behaviors don't make a person mentally ill, if you know what I mean. But if it were, perhaps it could be treated medically. If it was simply a mental illness, it could be treated medically. A little therapy, you know what I'm saying? A little TCM, a little targeted case management, a little medication. Keep it pushing, man. Monitoring, med administration, go on about your business. Okay, that's so it can be treated medically. Okay. However, some criminals are motivated to engage in illegal antisocial behavior by underlying psychiatric conditions, especially those conditions that manifest themselves in symptoms such as, and I'm gonna say this phrase right here, and you have been hearing me saying it lately, so I'm gonna read this so that you guys understand that I wasn't just throwing something out there. Especially those conditions that manifest themselves in symptoms such as lack of impulse control. Now, if you guys have heard me mentioning impulse control and emotional impulse control, throw one in the chat real quick. Little one, just the one. Throw one in the chat real quick. While I take this pause for the cause. I see one. Okay, so you heard it. Okay. I'm just making sure, because y'all know people say you lied and now. Okay. So I'm going to go back, because this is one long sentence, so y'all get this whole sentence. Okay. However, some criminals are motivated to engage in illegal and antisocial behavior by underlying psychiatric conditions, especially those conditions that manifest themselves in symptoms such as lack of impulse control, lack of inhibition, hallucinations and delusions, paranoia, hyperactivity, and inability to concentrate or possession of impaired communication skills. So it's saying that some people have underlying psychiatric conditions that may cause them or may manifest themselves or may show up because of these other things. They have symptoms of these other things. So this psychiatric condition kind of pushes these other things out to the forefront. Okay? They push it out to the forefront. You get what I'm saying? So because they have these issues, that brings about the lack of impulse control, that emotional impulse control. You can't control your emotions. You can't control your impulse. If you feel something, you act on it. You have no control over it. Even if you know it's wrong, you have no control over it. You just spare the moment. Like right then, you act on it. You don't think about it. You don't take a little time out to try to make sure that you're acting the right way. Or if you process that the right way. Hey, Latrice, if you process that the right way, you just go and act on stuff. You don't think. You just act. And a lot of times you end up, most of the time, hey, Groovy family, you end up regretting that later, right? Hey, Bird, how you doing? So, now research also says, we go back to the researching thing, Miss D. Now, research also says, follow me. Hey, Chris, how you doing? Research also says people suffering from personality disorders, schizophrenia, bipolar affective disorder, aggression, depression, adjustment disorders, and sexual disorders such as paraphilias are prone to criminal behavior. This is according to the psychiatric illness associated with criminality. Research. These are facts now. Now, we also know that some illegal conduct can also come from substance use and stuff like that. Y'all know. Or most importantly, listen at this, y'all. A BTI. I'm saying a BTI. A TBI. A traumatic brain injury. A traumatic brain injury. Keep that thought in the back of your mind. Keep that thought in the back of your mind. Now, listen now. Let me show you. I'm going to tell you what research says. Now listen. Listen carefully. Hey, Miss Brenda. It is easier for these people to hide their mental illness in an online community. This is because they do not have physical contact with these people in the offline world. So they have a bit more control over who they want to be online. So these things are often overlooked or hidden online. Because surely you don't expect to see somebody every day online. But the more that you are able to interact with the person that has criminal behavior, the more you are able, or the more opportunities you have to start to witness some of these behaviors. Cybercrime that is motivated by a psychiatric illness can be difficult to investigate and solve precisely because criminals' motivations don't seem logical or rational. Because all you know is the online persona. But when you see them constantly, then you get a chance to see some of the things that are going on and you're able to investigate a little bit, but it's still hard to put your finger on their motivations because it seems illogical and irrational. I'm hoping y'all following me on this now. Butterfly, hey, how you doing? How you doing? I just wanted to put that there from the beginning so that we can kind of understand some of the stuff that we've been seeing all over these YouTube streets. Don K, hey, how you doing? We got to get this thing together and understand that we are dealing with a little bit more. Hey, Miss Ruby, with just a little bit more than just child's play. Dealing with some serious issues out here. And people need to recognize it for what it is. So when people say, I might need to handle this situation, because see, the thing is, when you have someone that participates in criminal behavior and they lack impulse control, sometimes they can hurt themselves and or others in the process of these acts unwillingly because they lack control. They lack self-control. You follow me? So whenever things are said, you still have to be careful, even if you don't believe that, certain things will happen. You still have to proceed with caution. Because you are dealing with a person that is not logical and they're not realistic with or about themselves. These are the makings of criminal behavior. Now, we're going to get into this for a minute because this is the stuff I have to teach every day. And these are criminal thinking errors Now, what I did was I had to change it up because I ain't want no saying I'm using my stuff from over here. I changed it up because I want to make sure people understand what I'm talking about. Know what I'm talking about? Because I got to make sure we get this. Because y'all, I saw some of something. I'm like, oh, they know what they talking about. They hitting the nail on the head right here. Let us proceed. Let us proceed. I'm gonna go over. Let's see. We're not gonna do all of them tonight because there are several. There are several. There's a plethora of different thinking errors. Oh, the ones that we're gonna discuss now. We're gonna discuss 10. We're gonna discuss 10 of those thinking errors. If you can identify any of these thinking errors, just put it in the chat. Just put it in the chat. I don't need any names because it's all over the place. I mean, it's on Black Tube, White Tube, Black Tube, White Tube, Hispanic Tube, Asian Tube, Hispanic, Islander, it's all over the place. It's not in one place. But we tend to look in a certain area so we get to see things, up close and personal. So the first type of criminal thinking that we are going to go over is closed channel thinking. Closed channel thinking. That means that you are not receptive. Okay? Nothing that anybody else says makes sense. Nothing that anybody else says is true. Nothing. If it didn't come out of your mouth, then it's not real. So this type of individual or individuals, they are not receptive. They are not self-critical. They don't believe in disclosure, not true disclosure. And they're good at pointing out, giving feedback on the faults of others. And they truly believe in lies by omission. Now, let's talk about lies by omission. Let's talk about lies by omission because I've been seeing a lot of this. A lie by any other name is still a lie, right? So whether I say this lie verbally or I did something and you may not know that I did it and I choose to omit what I did, then that would be a lie by omission. It's still a lie. Because if I ask you something or if I hint towards something and you say nothing knowing the truth and you're omitting certain parts, you're putting in certain parts and omitting certain parts, then that would be a lie by omission. Now let me go back because this thing also says you're good at pointing out and giving feedback on the flaws and faults of others. But yet you're not self-critical. You won't check yourself. You're critical of everybody else, but you're not critical of your own doings. Closed channel thinking. You want to disclose everybody else's stuff, but you won't disclose your own. Not the truth anyway. We're not talking about delusions of grandeur and all this grandiose stuff. No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about really true self-disclosure. True self-disclosure. That's what we're talking about. We're going to move on to the next one. Now, if you're following me every now and again, I just want y'all to thank you, Miss Fat. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. You on point. Boy, I tell you, I don't care what they say about you, Miss Fat. I don't care what they say. I appreciate you. Okay. Number 2. I'm pretty sure you guys are not familiar with number 2. So this is going to seem like Greek to you guys. But I want to make sure you follow me on this one, okay? Number 2 is victim stance. Y'all hadn't seen none of this here, so I got to kind of break this one down. Victim stance, okay? Victim stance. Now, this person or persons, they view themselves as the victim. He, she, they may even blame society for what's going on with them and what they are thinking and or doing. They blame everyone else but themselves for their criminal behavior. I have never seen that before in my life. I would really like to see what that looks like. Hey, Lady Earth B, I have never seen that before in my life. Okay, so that's a lie. Victim stance. I need that number 2 in there, Miss Fat. That number 2 is victim stance. All one word, victim stance. Right, wish you hadn't seen it either, right? We don't see no stuff like that, you know. Well, we don't see people doing stuff, crimes and blaming, you know, like I broke into your house and I'm blaming you because yeah, you had the door unlocked, but it wasn't locked tight enough. You know what I'm saying? You know, like we don't see nobody blaming, like, okay, I know I stole your car, but it's your fault for buying a nice car that I wanted to steal in the first place. Like, that's your fault. Don't blame me. You know? Yeah, I hit you. You know? But it was your fault for making your face hit my hand. Yeah, don't hear me. You made your face hit my hand. Okay? Hey, Boston. Yeah. Victim stance. Victim stance. I'm just saying. So number 1 was closed channel thinking. Okay. Number 2, victim stance. These are criminal thinking errors. These are some of the ways that criminals, people who are criminals, who are labeled criminals, they may not label themselves as criminals, but criminals they are. These are some of the types of thinking that they have to justify their criminal behaviors and their criminal actions. All right? So let's move on to number 3. Number 3. These people tend to view themselves as good people. Would you look at that? They view themselves as good people. Okay, they focus on their positive attributes. They don't see the negative. They'll never tell you about the negative now. That negative is hidden in the closet somewhere. They're just gonna talk about how good they are or how good they think they are. They fail to acknowledge. Listen now, because I want to tell you that y'all heard this before. They fail to acknowledge their destructive behaviors. They fail to acknowledge their destructive behaviors. Now, if you guys heard something about destructive behaviors or self-destructive behaviors, I need to see a 2 in the chat. Actually, give me 3, because we on number 3. I need to see a 3 in the chat. These people fail to acknowledge their own behaviors as being destructive. Only one person heard me? Just one? Okay, I see a couple more. Okay, y'all. So y'all, okay, this not new. Oh, okay. This person or these people, okay, I see a few more. They tend to build themselves up at other people's expense. They tend to use other people to build themselves up. They're going to use you, they abuse you, whatever they need to do to make themselves look better and build up whatever it is they're trying to build, to make themselves look like the victim, to make themselves look like the hero. How in the world are you the victim and the hero? You know what? Let me just move on forward. But whatever they need to do, they use others, they utilize others, they manipulate others to build themselves up. They use you for their own expense. Okay. So number 3 is view self as a good person. That's what number 3 is. View self as a good person. View self as a good person. You've never noticed that when you talk to a criminal, or seen people interview a criminal, they never think that they've done anything wrong. They always find someone else to blame. Someone made them do something. If not for the action of others, then they would not have done whatever it is they did. Thank you, Wish. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Number 4. Keisha, I get you on that. Let me write it down so I remember. Right, peace, harmony, and life. And life. In life. This doesn't just apply to social media. Lack of effort. That's number 4. Lack of effort. Lack of effort. This person or persons, he or she is unwilling to do anything he finds boring or disagreeable. Now, some of you are going to notice that whenever I did the videos on narcissism and what a narcissist is, when I did the video on pathological liars, when I did it on different types of pathologies, you will notice that some of these thinking errors actually mirror some of the things that you heard in narcissism or a manipulative person. You've heard some of these same terms. So they're not new to you. You've heard them before. So I'm going to go back. Lack of effort. Unwilling to do anything that they find boring or disagreeable. Falls in line with the thinking of a narcissist. This person may say, I can't, but what they really mean is I won't. Right? Like, I can't control myself. I can't control my behaviors. I can't stop doing blah, blah, blah. No, it's not that they can't. What they're really saying is, I won't chill out. I won't stop acting a donkey. I won't do this. I won't do that. That's what they lack. That they're not putting any effort into doing these things. So not only are they lying to you, they are lying to themselves about what they can and cannot do. It's not a can't, it is a I will not. I won't do it. So just replace that can't with won't. Not W-A-N-T, but W-O-N apostrophe T. Think about that. Now, the other thing with this person is you may try over and over again to get through to them, to try to get them to work on other things, to utilize whatever skills they have in another direction. See, that's when these can'ts come in. Now, even if they don't literally say the word can't, it's their actions that are saying the word can't. Follow me on that. Their actions are actually saying, I can't. I won't. Okay? Let me move on. Number 5. Number 5 is interesting, y'all. Number 5 is lack of interest in responsible performance. Let me repeat that. Lack of interest in responsible performance. One more time, y'all don't hear me. Lack of interest in responsible performance. Hey, Valerie. Boy, that's deep right there, Bo. Just that by itself. lack of interest in responsible performance. They don't mind performing, but they have no interest in performing in a responsible manner. Would you look at that? No interest in performing in a responsible manner. That means they're just willing to do any and everything. Let me go into that. This person that chooses to have lack of interest in responsible performance also tends to live unresponsibly. When it comes to responsible living or living in a responsible manner, it's unexciting. It's not satisfying to them. It's not enough. They don't like that type of living. They are not interested in living that responsible life. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't fit, if that makes sense. It just doesn't fit. It's not part of their world. They have absolutely no interest in being responsible in no way, shape, or form. Whatever that may be. Whether it's their living conditions, hey April, whether it's their living condition, whether it's their financial situation, whether it's spiritually, mentally, whatever it is, they have no interest in living in a responsible manner. So therefore, you get irresponsible behaviors. Let me move on. They have no sense of obligation. None. No sense of obligation. The only they are, no, I won't even say that because that'd be a lie. I was about to say they have some obligation to themselves, but even that is questionable. Yeah, even that is questionable. So let me hold that thought. When it comes to some type of responsible performance, this person or persons will only respond if he or she sees some type of net profit or payoff. If they don't see how it's going to benefit them immediately, not in the future, immediately, they have to see some type of immediate payoff. So they may go to work because at least they know that hopefully by the end of the week they may get a check. They may do certain things that are going to allow them to get money on site. Those things, immediacy. They are all about immediacy. Now, remember, this person isn't a forward thinker. This person is stuck in the moment, remember? This person has no impulse control. So whenever they get money, they spend. They blow it. They're irresponsible with it. They don't make sure that the things that need to be taken care of are actually taken care of. Understand what I'm saying? Because that would mean that they would have to be responsible, right? Whether that's paying bills, what's up, Pat? Whether that's paying bills, whether that's taking care of your family, whether that's putting money off to the side. See, these people, anything that looks remotely close to responsibility, they run from that. They do not want to be obligated to anything. Now, if we were to look at some of these YouTube streets, this would be, I can use you as much as I need to, but I'm not obligated to you. So the minute I see that you are no use to me, I can no longer utilize you for whatever I need, then you are out here because I'm not obligated to you. Now, I need you to be obligated to me, but I am not obligated to you, and I will not take responsibility for anything dealing with you unless there's some type of net payoff. So that was number 5. That was lack of interest in responsible performance. Yeah. We're going to move to number 6. We're going to move right on. We're going to move right on to number 6. Number 6. Boy, I like 6. I really like number 6. Number 6 is lack of time perspective. I'm going to repeat that. Lack of time perspective. That's the thinking error. Lack of time perspective. Okay? Now, this person or persons, thank you, Wish. Thank you. Because I don't want y'all to think I'm talking about this time. Lack of time perspective. This person refuses to use his or her past experiences as a learning tool. They refuse to put things in perspective. Oh, y'all don't hear me. This person doesn't understand that everything that happened in the past has a direct or indirect effect on things that happen in the future. They don't realize that things that happen that may come across as negative in the past, that they can learn from those situations, correct those situations, and change things in their own lives in the future by a simple correction. Now, go a little bit deeper than this, because I said lack of time perspective. This person expects others to act immediately on his or her demands or their demands, but they don't do the same. So if they tell you to jump, they don't want you to say where. They want you to say how high. And can I do anything else for you, sir or madam? They want you to jump. When they respond, they expect you to jump immediately. Don't you take your time. Don't you take any extra breaths trying to do what I told you to do. Don't ask me any questions. Question me on my questionable behaviors. Just do what I told you to do immediately. Yeah. And let me give y'all the last part of this one. When it comes to time and putting things in perspective and really looking at the full picture of it all, this person or persons, okay, they make their decisions based on assumptions rather than facts. Hey, Lysol Larry, did y'all catch that? This person or persons, when it comes to taking all the things that have happened in the past and the present, the current events, research what is really going on, instead of basing things on facts, they depend merely and make their decisions based solely on assumptions. Bump the facts. It's all assumption. I'm just, These are criminal thinking errors, y'all. Okay? That's all I'm saying now. That's all I'm saying. I need y'all to follow me. What's up, Spitfire? Just follow me. Just follow me now. Now we're gonna move on to 7. I said the other one was deep, but this one goes a bit deeper. I'm gonna correct myself, and I'm gonna say that this one goes a bit deeper than one of the ones from before. Number 7 is fear of fear. Fear of fear. Catch that. Fear of fear. What's your question? What's your question, La Soler? Fear of fear. That is number 7. All right. This person or persons that have this criminal way of thinking, that have this criminal mindset, that just love participating in these criminal actions. This person that delves in this fear of fear, they have irrational fears, but they refuse to admit them. I don't have an answer for that. All I can tell you is that you have to let the people do what they do. That's the only way I can answer it. Got to let the people do what they do. But let me go back. They have irrational fears, several irrational fears. I'm saying irrational now. Catch that. Not true fears, not stuff that, like, I don't want to say regular, but like that regular people fear. They have irrational fears, but they refuse to admit it. They refuse to admit what those fears are. But you can tell by their behaviors that there are some irrational fears there. Because if they were not there, then you would not be seeing or witnessing some of these behaviors. This is number 7, Peace Harmony. So they have irrational fears but refuse to admit them. Oh, Lord. Woman of God, hey, how you doing? Not peeping out the window. They have irrational fears, but they refuse to admit that they have those irrational fears. They have, listen, y'all, they have a fundamental fear of injury or death. With that being said, they would much rather be the person that says they're going to inflict harm than to be the person that actually experiences the harm. Who would have thought, right? They are fundamentally afraid of fear. They're afraid of injury or death. So the thing is, I must try to put that fear in you so that you won't recognize my fear, because I'm for darn sure not going to acknowledge it. So let me put that fear of injury or death into you. Let me instill that fear there so that you won't acknowledge or recognize that I am dealing with this myself. Hold on now. Hold on. Part of this fear is also a profound fear of being put down. They have a fear of being put down. So before I let you put me down, or before I risk, thank you, Lysol Larry, you exactly right. Before I allow somebody to put me down because I don't feel like I am worthy of them, or maybe not as good as them, or maybe I can't do the things that they do, I'm going to go and I'm going to put those things out there. I'm going to put you down. I am going to be the one that issues out all these negative things on everyone else, so they will be afraid to put me down. They will not put me down because they don't know how I am going to respond. They don't know if I am going to hurt them. They don't know if I'm going to go and try to shake their whole soul. They don't know. So let me put that fear in them so that they will be afraid to put me down, which is my real fear. But I'll never say it out loud. I ain't telling nobody that. They know that about me. No ma'am, no Sam, no ham, not today. Not today. And let me give you the last part of this. And I need y'all to get this. The last part of this is this person or persons that has this fear of fear. Those, when held accountable, for certain experiences, when held accountable for certain experiences, they feel worthless. When held accountable for certain experiences, they feel worthless. What's up, Deboski? They feel worthless. When held accountable for certain experiences, when their feet are held to the fire, they feel worthless. Deboski, let me know. I got you. They feel worthless. I know. Right, it's mine too. It's mine too. Now, that was number 7. I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna move on to number 8. Because I know that y'all haven't seen this out here, so I'm gonna introduce you to something new, right? I'm gonna introduce you to something new when it comes to this criminal thinking. But I'm pretty sure that by now y'all starting to understand some of the stuff that's going on, right? So number 8 is power thrust. Power thrust. Power thrust. One more time. Power thrust. Now hold on to that one. A person that falls under this type of thinking, he, she, them, they, these people tend to be compelled by the need to be in control of every situation. Man, look at here. See what, Debo? These people have to be in control of every situation. Get it? They got to be in control of every situation. Let me add on to that. Part of this power thrust, they use manipulation and deceit as part of this power thrust. Y'all don't hear me. They have, they got to be, they're compelled to be in a position of power over everything, and they're willing to manipulate and be deceitful in order to have that power. Oh, shoot, you got 2 special guests. Wait a minute. Whew. Let me give y'all the last part of this. This is going to sound real familiar. Although this person who wants complete control of everything and is willing to be manipulative and deceitful to get it, even though they want power over everything, they refuse to be dependent unless they can take advantage of the situation. They refuse to be dependent unless they can take advantage of the situation. Most definitely. And I'm looking at this, and I don't like the way that this is worded. Because I believe that in the power thrust that they refuse to be independent unless they can take advantage of the situation. Now, number nine is uniqueness. That's it. That's number 9, uniqueness. No tolerance. Yes. 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 Number 9 is uniqueness. This person feels, these persons, them, they, those, they feel that they are different and better than others. Yeah. They feel that they are different and better than others. I don't know who told them that. That's just their belief. I don't have nothing to do with it. Don't blame me. I'm just saying. They feel that they are different and better than others. Now let me add on to that. They also expect others to meet expectations that they are unable to meet. Hot almighty tateable. They are often expecting they expect people to meet expectations that they are unable to meet. How you want me to do something that you can't even do? You know what I'm saying? How you gonna hold my feet to the fire for this? And your feet sitting up here on cold ice. I mean, you got ice under your feet and you want to hold mine to the fire? You can't do it yourself. How? Let me move on. Okay, this person also tends to be, catch this word now, this person also tends to be super optimistic. Okay, understand there's nothing wrong with optimism. The criminal-minded person tends to be super optimistic. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, they feel like they're God. Like they act like there's no failure, like there's no failure in this. Like, I can go and I can do this and you can't do it because you're not like me, because I'm different. I'm different. Like I'm that dude or I'm that chick. You can't do what I do. I am like this superhero. You got this superhero syndrome. I told y'all before, this is that Nino Brown syndrome. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can go and I can do all this stuff. I am untouchable. Listen to me now. I am untouchable. I can go and I can shut down the Carter. And I know DeBoski know what I'm talking about because I hear him in New Jack City all the time. I can shut down the Carter and have them doing what I want them to do. I can go and shut down all these apartment buildings. Okay? I can do this. Nobody can touch me. I am mother flipping untouchable. Y'all didn't know that? Right. Yeah, you really do believe you can fly. Say word. Now, this person believes all this stuff, but let me tell you, let me be clear. They want you to believe all this stuff, but the truth of the matter, they're not buying what they're selling. Huh? You done went and blew my head up thinking that I can do all this stuff and that you can do all this stuff and you can do all this stuff for me, but you not even buying what you selling. You selling these cookies and you not even buying the cookies. Okay? What's wrong with this picture? You got the whole world believing that you are untouchable. But in here, you know you're not untouchable. You are so afraid, but you will never. Or it sounds like narcissist, doesn't it? Because the criminal-minded person is usually a narcissistic person. True story. Spitting fire mine too. Yeah. But they sell you this dream that they can do all things. Only them now. Only them. But check this out. At the first sign of failure, pew, them jokers out. Out like a light. They are out. Because they fear failure. And remember, they don't want anybody putting them down. Remember? So if it looks like it's not going to work out the way that they think it's going to work out, they're going to find a way to try to. They don't even believe in having to bow out gracefully. However they need to bow out, however that needs to come out. You know what I'm saying? Even if I got to flip the script on you, however that needs to come out, you will not catch me falling. At least not in my eyes anyway. You're not going to catch it. I'm not going to admit that you caught it anyway. I don't care what you catch. You won't catch me admitting that you caught me slipping. I'm just saying. I'm out. Pew. Shoot. You may talk about me failing, but I won't be here to hear about it. Shoot. Just saying. Turn this thing back on. Now, number 10. No sense of reality at all. That's yeah. Hold on, let me get my keyboard back on. Yes. Piece of heart. Good thing you said that. Yes, they want to control your mind. The sad thing about that is if we go back to the beginning, this person lacks impulse control. So you can't even control your own mind. You see what I'm saying? You can't control your own mind. How do you honestly and realistically expect to control the mind of others? You may have it for a little while. And it's not so much that you're controlling your mind. What you have done is you have found people that can identify with some of the things that they see in you. They can identify with those things because they see those things in themselves. So it's easy for them to gravitate towards that. It's very easy. Yeah, very easy. Why's my Bluetooth off? Exactly. Like attract. Come on through with laws of attraction. Come through with that laws of attraction. We know what it is. I promise we know what it is. Now, number 10. I'm sorry, this thing is all the way empty. Okay, number 10. Get it. Number 10 is ownership attitude. That's number 10. So we went from number 9 being uniqueness, and number 10 is ownership attitude. Ownership attitude. That's number 10. Thank y'all for hitting those like buttons. If you haven't hit that like button, please hit that like button. That's ownership attitude. Again, Wish, ownership attitude. People in their minds, they believe, they perceive all things, all people, all objects as their own personal possessions. In their mind, everything belongs to them. Even if it doesn't. everything belongs to them. But the sad part about it is they have no concept of ownership. Remember, because you don't want to delve in those things that you have to be responsible for. But you want to own something. You know, this kind of like, almost like people that want to have kids, but they don't want to take care of. You know what I'm saying? You just want to say you got it. Like, okay. These type of people, they're the type of people that even when it comes to sex, they don't use sex for the intimacy of it. They use it for power and control. They don't care about intimacy. Bump that. That's not important. I be able to control you. If I can't control you, I can't fool with you. I'm sorry I'm blowing your high, my bad. Now, Keisha 3, you had asked me earlier. I'm sorry. I told y'all I'm an instructor. You asked me earlier about what was a sociopath. Rug is blowing my robe. I'll break down and crown a woman. What is a sociopath? A sociopath. This is a person with a personality disorder manifesting itself. I'm going to read the definition that's on here, then I'll come back and break it down. A person with a personality disorder manifesting itself in extreme antisocial attitudes and behaviors and a lack of conscience. They have no conscience at all. And I think some of you heard me, and maybe that's where that question came from, because I referenced that the other day. Now, the one thing that I want to say on here is I always try to correct people when I hear them call themselves antisocial, because you never want to be referred to as being a person that is antisocial. People believe that antisocial means that you don't like being around people. That is not what antisocial means. Antisocial is what killers are made of. They're what serial killers are made of. These are people that like abusing animals when they were small. They like setting animals and things on fire. I mean, these people are the makings of sociopaths. So you have somebody that's a sociopath. They have extreme manifestations of antisocial attitudes. Okay. Let me take it all the way there with y'all. I'm going to use my broke up book. Y'all going to have to overlook it. I told y'all, this real work right here. Again, this is the Bible. This is the old one. I keep this at home. When you get a diagnosis, this is where it comes from. This is just the baby of them. But this is where it comes from. Now, yeah. I know you said I got you feeling like you in school, but let me just do this for a second. Adult antisocial personality disorder. Actually, I probably need to start with a child first, but anyway, adult antisocial personality disorder. Let me skip all this because this won't make sense. Okay, I'll read it anyway. Yeah, it's full, ain't it? Adult antisocial personality disorder. This category can be used when the focus of clinical attention is adult antisocial behavior that is not due to a mental disorder. E.g., conduct disorder, antisocial personality disorder. That's what I'm telling you. It's not something to go around bragging about. Or impulse control disorder. Okay? That is a thing. Let me move on. Examples include the behavior of some professional thieves, racketeers, or dealers in illegal substances. Child or adolescent antisocial personality behavior. This category can be used when the focus of clinical attention is antisocial behavior of a child or adolescent that is not due to a mental disorder. Examples include isolated antisocial acts of children or adolescents, not a part of antisocial behavior. And I want to break, hold on, because I ain't really supposed to be doing this like this, but we're going to have a conversation tonight. This little book done been through it. Look, I'm going to just take the back off and just hold it like this. Ugh. Impulse control disorders. I won't get to the exact names of it. I just want to give y'all some information on it. Several discrete episodes of failure to resist aggressive impulses that resist in serious assaultive acts or destructive behaviors. The degree of aggressiveness expressed during the episodes is grossly out of proportion to any precipitating psychosocial stressors. The aggressive episodes are not better accounted for by another mental disorder. I'm going to skip over. There is another type of impulse control disorder. Recurrent failure to resist impulses to steal objects that are not needed for personal use or monetary value. These are people that tend to just steal stuff just to be stealing and it doesn't make sense. You understand? So people that have a tendency to lie for no reason. Like they just pulled it out of the sky. Like nobody even said anything to you for you to lie. You just felt like lying. You understand what I'm saying? That is an impulse control thing. You also have something that you see with a lot of people where you see them pulling out their own hair. It may be their eyebrows, it may be their eyelashes, it could be their actual hair. And they'll see the noticeable hair loss, but because they lack that impulse control whenever they're nervous, or sometimes it's not even, they're not conscious that point, they're just sitting there pulling out their hair. So, I mean, it's different types of impulse control disorders. And this is a lot of what I see whenever I see people that participate in criminal-like behaviors. So that is one of these things. Now let me just skip around. Well, it might be. Now, the other thing I want to touch on real quick is something that people tend to overlook in adults. Something that people tend to overlook in adults, but it's something that I think people need to think about. Let me make this disclaimer. I am not on here to diagnose anybody. All I'm doing is giving you some information. Everything on here is for informational purposes, for you to go back and do your own research during your own time. Let me put that disclaimer out here. But we see a lot of young people, kids, teenagers, whoever, they're dealing with ADHD or ADD. We hear about adults having it. It hasn't been that long ago that adults were getting these types of diagnoses, right? Something that needs to be thought about when you look at the behavior in some people. Now, as a child, you may say it one way, but how do these behaviors look in an adult? How does that manifest? What kind of behavior does it result in when you're an adult experiencing these same behaviors that you could have experienced as a child when it was never diagnosed? So I'm not going to break everything down so that you can say, oh, I diagnosed this, but we're going to look at a few things. Okay. You can have 6 or more of the following symptoms within a 6-month period. I'm going to just keep that short. This person often fails to give close attention to details or makes careless mistakes in schoolwork, work, or other activities. All right. Often has difficulty sustaining attention. Often has difficulty sustaining attention in whatever the task may be. So they jump all over the place. Often does not seem to listen when spoken to directly. We may think that they're doing it intentionally. I'm just saying. Let me go back because I want, okay, we got attention deficit hyperactivity disorder and attention deficit disorder. So when I say ADD and ADHD, just so y'all following me. Okay. Often does not follow through on instructions and fails to finish their work or duties in the workplace, chores. And they often show oppositional behaviors whenever they are approached about these things that they fail to do. What's going on, Trev in South Cat? Often has difficulty organizing tasks and activities, often avoids, dislikes, or is reluctant to engage in tasks that require sustained mental effort. Often loses things necessary for tasks or activities, is often easily distracted by extraneous stimuli, is often forgetful in daily tasks. Now, when it comes to hyperactivity, the things that I just spoke to you on, those things were just dealing with inattention. When it comes to hyperactivity, often fidgets with hands or feet or squirms in the seat. Follow me. Often leaves seat, if this was in a classroom, often leaves seat in the classroom or in other situations in which remaining seated is expected. Often runs about or climbs excessively in situations in which it is inappropriate. May be limited to subjective feelings of restlessness. Often has difficulty engaging in leisure activities quietly. Meaning that even if I have to go on the computer to find something, I can't do that quietly. I'm like fidgety, or I got to make sounds. I have to do certain things to keep me, interested in what I'm doing. I got to do all this. Okay. Often has difficulties engaging in leisure activities quietly, is often on the go or often acts as if driven by a motor. Often acts as if driven by a motor. Now see, this is the real battery in the back. Catch that. That's the real battery in the back. Often interrupts or intrudes others, or butts into other people's conversations and or business. Just saying. Now again, this isn't saying that everybody experiences these things, but it's just some stuff that I want you to think about. It's some stuff that I consider whenever I'm looking at things, because I sit here and I do my own little case studies, Now, I'm just going to touch on this just for a few seconds. Personality disorders. Because I had somebody ask me in here, they were asking about, well, that's a narcissist, right? Isn't that a narcissist? Well, narcissism falls under a personality disorder. That manipulation, that all that stuff, these are different symptoms of a personality disorder. A lot of times you'll hear me say something about somebody being borderline. And to be honest with you, and I'm going to just say this, whenever I was talking to, I hate to even say it like that. If I'm talking to another clinician or someone claiming to be a clinician, and I say borderline and you don't know what I mean, now I'm questioning whether or not. Let me move on. All right. These are some of the general diagnostic criteria for personality disorder, just in general. Things that we look at. You have pattern of behavior that is manifested in 2 or more of the following areas. 1, cognition. That's why you always hear me talking about cognitive behavior, like whatever. Okay, cognition. The way that you perceive and interpret things, yourself and other people and events. We look at that. Number 2, affectivity. Are your affect? What is your range? Your intensity, like appropriateness of your emotional response. Whenever, does your affect actually match what's going on? You're sad. Are you looking angry or are you smiling and you're really sad? Does your affect actually match? You're hurting on the inside and you're smiling and drawing butterflies and stuff. Does your affect actually match your feelings? Or we can tell that it like something ain't clicking. They don't go together. So we have to check that affect to see. Okay. The next thing, interpersonal functioning. How do you function with other people? How do you communicate with other people? Are you able to communicate effectively with other people? Or do you have a problem with that? And the last one is impulse control. Do you have it? Okay. Let me hit on this one for a minute. Hopefully YouTube won't knock me off. Like I said, I'm doing this for informational purposes. My purpose is not to diagnose anybody. There is a diagnosis of paranoid personality disorder. It's gone, you dig me? I promise it is. It's all the way gone. Paranoid personality disorder. You don't need the code. All you need is the name. With this particular type of disorder, there is a pervasive distrust and suspiciousness of others, such that their motives are interpreted as I'm just going to say suspicious, beginning by early childhood, early adulthood, and present in a variety of contexts, as indicated by 4 or more of the following. I wish I could. I wish I could. Okay. So this thing is indicative of 4 or more of the following. Paranoid personality disorder. The first thing is suspects without sufficient basis that others are exploiting, harming, or deceiving him or her. That's number 1. Suspects without sufficient basis that others are exploiting, harming, or deceiving him or her. It's one of the first things we look at. Number 2 is preoccupied with unjustified doubts about the loyalty or trustworthiness of friends and or associates. Let me repeat that. Is preoccupied with unjustified doubts about the loyalty or trustworthiness of friends and or associates. That's number 2. Now keep in mind, we look at 4. You need to meet 4 of these 7 criteria. That's all I'm going to say, just 4. Okay. Number 3. Is reluctant to confide in others because of unwarranted fear that the information will be used maliciously against him or her. Afraid to confide in other people out of fear that others will use unwarranted fear. The others will use the information in a malicious way against him or her. Now, in certain situations, I would say that this concern may actually be warranted, because if you are doing the same thing to people, then one would only expect that they may do it to you. So this one could be a little tricky. Number 4. Reads hidden, demeaning, or threatening meanings into benign remarks or events. Reads hidden, demeaning, or threatening meanings into benign remarks or events. That's number 4. Ooh. The 5th one. Persistently holds grudges, i.e., they are unforgiving of insults, injuries, or slights. They are unforgiving. They cannot let it go. Number 6. Number 6. Perceives attacks on his or her character or reputation that are not apparent to others, and is quick to react angrily or counterattack. Let me read that again. Perceives attacks on his or her character or reputation that are not apparent to others. No one else sees or identifies these attacks on your character or your reputation. Nobody but you. You perceive these things as attacks to your character or reputation, and you are quick to react angrily or counterattack. That's number 6. Number 7. Has recurrent suspicion without justification regarding fidelity of spouse or sexual partner. It doesn't have to be anything sexual, but you have recurrent suspicions without any justification. Now, we look at those 7, and if they meet 4 of the criteria, then they would have this diagnosis. I'll move on. Antisocial personality disorder. I'm not going to go all the way through this manual. I'm just giving you the things that I look at. So when I say I don't respond to certain things a certain way because I see something else, then I need y'all to understand what I'm saying when I say that. Antisocial personality disorder. There is a perversive pattern of disregard, and I need y'all to listen. I need y'all to listen. Listen, Linda. Listen. There is a perversive pattern of disregard for and violation of the rights of others occurring since age 15. See, this thing starts young. Now, this is indicative of 3 or more things that I'm going to mention here. But this is why I say it's not a good thing to go around telling everybody, oh, yeah, I'm antisocial. I don't like talking to people. That's not what antisocial means. That's not what it means. So you might want to change that. I mean, on the clinical level, that's not what it means. That's not what it means. So you have a perversive pattern of disregard for and violation of the rights of others occurring since the age 15. So since you were 15, you didn't give a flip about any laws, respecting other people's rights. You just didn't give a flip about anything. Now, see, these people like to refer to themselves when they get older. Sometimes they refer to themselves as sovereign citizens, because these types of people don't believe in laws and things of that nature. So not all of them, but it falls right in line with it as a person who is an adult who does not want to follow laws and doesn't believe in certain things. They don't think that they should be held to certain standards that other people should be held to when it comes to law and order and things of that nature. Now, this diagnosis of antisocial personality disorder is indicative of three or more of the following. Three or more of the following. First one, failure to conform to social norms with respect to lawful behaviors as indicated by repeatedly performing acts that are grounds for arrest. Let me go back and read this, because people ask me, well, Dr. Rogers, why didn't this happen? Well, why didn't this happen? I need y'all to understand what this stuff is all about and why people handle things different ways, because you have to handle stuff the right way or everything goes down. So let me go back and I'm going to read this again. Failure to conform to social norms with respect to lawful behaviors as indicated by repeatedly performing acts that are grounds for arrest. I'm going to let that marinate in your spirit real quick. Let's move on. Number 2, deceitfulness. Deceitfulness. As indicated by repeated lying, use of aliases, or conning others for personal profit or pleasure. Let me rewind that back for the people in the back that didn't hear what I just said. Deceitfulness, as indicated by repeated lying, use of aliases, or conning others for personal profit or pleasure. Now, who asked me something about what do you call folks that like to come up with 10, 15, 20 different pages? Okay, now you got your answer. Let's move on. That's number 2. Keep in mind, you only need to meet 3. You only need to meet 3 of the criteria, just 3. Okay, number 3, impulsivity or failure to plan ahead. Impulsivity or failure to plan ahead. That lack of emotional impulse control or lack of impulse control, that's impulsivity. You just act. You don't think. You don't think about the future. There is no forward thinking. Let me move on. See, when you're impulsive, you'll just throw stuff out there. It don't matter if it's the truth, the lie, whatever. And it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter. It's sexually deprived. Number 4. Irritability and aggressiveness as indicated by repeated physical fights or assaults. Or threats thereof. Let me move on to number 5. Number 5 is reckless disregard for the safety of self or others. Now, when I do my paperwork, it's reckless disregard of the safety of self and or others if you're about to be committed. Reckless disregard for the safety of self or others. So I would say all these people that commit these mass shootings or They just go and, like, you know, when folks talk about bullets flying into people's houses, through windows, through doors, and they don't care, you know, basically who's in the house. See, this is the thing that the officers did with the situation with Breonna Taylor. So whoever those officers were, they had little to no regard for safety. I'm not going to get into that. Let me move on. Number 6. Now, I want you to go back and keep thinking about those criminal thinking errors that I told you about before now. So, number 6 is consistent irresponsibility. Consistent irresponsibility is indicated by repeated failure to sustain consistent work, behavior, or honor financial obligations. Let me read that one more time. I'm going to read that, and I got to go get me some juice or something, or some water, something to put in this cup. Number 6 is consistently irresponsible. I got to make sure. Consistent irresponsibility. I got to make sure I say this right. Consistent irresponsibility, as indicated by repeated failure to sustain consistent work behavior or honor financial obligations. You ducking and hiding. Remember, I told you that person that had that criminal mind, they don't like responsibility and anything, whether it's life, home, you're finding anything, like they dodge that stuff. They don't want any parts of it. They don't want to participate in anything that they are, you know, obligated to. Okay. Number 7. This is the last one in this category. This is the last one. They only need 3. Lack of remorse. Lack of remorse. Lack of remorse, as indicated by being indifferent to or rationalizing having hurt, mistreated, or stolen from another. Lack of remorse, by being indifferent to, not caring about having hurt, or you rationalize hurting someone, mistreating someone, or stealing from someone. Now, the other criteria with this is that you must be 18 years old. Now, some people may be wondering, why are you talking about this stuff? I just want you to think about it. Now, before I go into this next one, and that's the one I'm going to stop with. I'm going to give you one more, and I'm going to stop with it. But I am parched. Let me drop this chair down real quick. All right, all right, all right. Ugh. So we looked at this antisocial personality thing. So hopefully that's not something that, you know, you want to continue bragging about. I'm just saying. Hold up, y'all. Got to get my situation right. The last one I want to just touch on real quick. Where the Hennessy at? This the Hennessy right here. Doc still gotta work. I still gotta work. When I get out here, I got to get on that other computer. Yeah, I know. Whew. So this last one that I'm gonna touch on is one that we had already referenced earlier. Narcissistic personality disorder. Now, if you guys want to get more information on that, feel free to go back and look at some of the previous videos that I did on narcissism, narcissistic behaviors, manipulation, all those things. It's all there. But from a clinical standpoint, let me just give you this. Narcissistic personality disorder. Right, spitting fire. It's not that they can't. Remember, when it's a criminal, the thinking behind a criminal is not that they can't. They won't. There's a difference. Because they can go out and do the things, even if they had the money to do it. They won't do it. You know, like people may have different, you know, streams of income, may have a little revenue coming in over here, over there, even though they have the means to make a little extra money and fulfill their obligations, they choose not to. Just not going to do it. Just not going to do it. Because they don't like to conform. Just saying. So, with the narcissistic personality disorder, this is a pattern of grandiosity. I know y'all heard that word before. A pattern of grandiosity in fantasy or behavior. There is a need for admiration. Lack of empathy. Again, you don't care about nobody. Beginning by early childhood. And it's present in a variety of contexts. Now, if you're getting this diagnosis, now there are other things that are looked at too, but for the purposes of using this DSM, which is the Diagnostic Statistical Manual, you need to meet at least 5 or more of the following in order to get this diagnosis. Again, disclaimer, I am not on here trying to diagnose anyone. I am just giving you this for informational purposes for you to go back and do your own research during your own time. Some of the indicators to look for. I'm going to do 9. Remember that in order for that diagnosis, the person or persons have to meet at least 5 of these 9. This person or persons, they have a grandiose sense of self-importance. For example. And I want y'all to realize that I'm reading this straight from the book. I'm not pulling any of this stuff out the sky. This is coming straight from the manual. The first one is that they have a grandiose sense of self-importance. For example, they exaggerate their achievements and talents and expect to be recognized as superior without commensurate experiences or achievements. you expect to be treated as superior or as important just because you said so. You don't have anything to back it up. It's just because you said so. You are a self-proclaimed person. There is nothing physical or actual or factual that is there to back it up. So your beliefs are grandiose. Just saying. That's number one. Number two, the person or persons is preoccupied with fantasies of unlimited success, power, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love. Preoccupied with fantasies of unlimited success. Now, let me finish reading. Unlimited success, power, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love. Now, go back to those criminal thinking errors that I was telling you about. And remember that I told you the person that has that criminal mind, that has this criminal thinking, they have these great expectations of other people, of things that they can't even meet themselves. They have these standards, these requirements, certain things that they are looking for. And if the tables were turned, they couldn't meet their own expectations. Okay. Number three. Believes that he or she is special. Believes that he or she is special and unique. And can only be understood by or should associate with other special, high status people. Y'all done heard this from a couple of people that only deal with certain people because they're special. Now we're going to go back to the criminal thinking. See, remember we had that uniqueness. I'm different. Yeah, I'm different. Remember that thinking? Like there's just you, you're the only. Okay. Okay. Woo. Number 4. This was serious right here. Requires admiration. I need you to admire me at all times. To admire anyone else in my presence is pure blasphemy. Understand that. I am special. I am unique. I am beautiful. I am superior. I am self-important. So I need you to admire me at all times. That was number 4. Number 5. Has a sense of entitlement. Y'all hear this stuff on my channel all the time? Y'all thought I pulled it out the sky? Has a sense of entitlement. For example, unreasonable expectations, especially favorable treatment or automatic compliance with his or her expectations. You owe me. I'm going to read it one more time. Has a sense of entitlement. For example, unreasonable expectations of especially favorable treatment or automatic compliance with his or her expectations. I expect you to comply with me because I am who I am. We see this in the criminal behaviors. How dare you question me? Who are you? You are a mere peon to me. How dare you question me? You owe me your attention. Huh? You owe me your loyalty. What? You owe me. Let's move on. Number 6 is interpersonally exploitative. Listen to me now. Is interpersonally exploitative, meaning that this person takes advantage of others to achieve his or her own ends. See what I'm telling you? When it comes to that narcissistic behavior, they are right in line. They're in tune with criminal thinking. Yeah. Yeah. When it comes to other people, interpersonally, their interactions with other people, they use other people to get what they want. Period. Number 7, lacks empathy. Keep hearing that word, right? Is unwilling to recognize or identify with the feelings and needs of others. So this means that, just say, for example, that if something was done to someone, you don't understand, you can't identify with why this person or this group or whoever may be upset with what was done to them. But when the tables are turned and the same exact behaviors or actions are done to you, then that's when we come to the victim stance that we talked about earlier. So when it comes to other people, you lack empathy. You don't care. When it happens to you, then you play the victim. Let's move on. Number 8. Number 8. Now I want you guys to realize that as you go back, if you look through my videos, you can see why those videos are there. Number 8 is often envious of others or believes that others are envious of him or her. I need to read that again. Let me read it again. Is often envious of others or often believes or tells themselves that others are envious of him or her. That was number 8. Finally, this is number 9. This is the last one. Shows arrogant, haughty, or we'll say boastful behaviors or attitudes. Yeah. Arrogant or haughty behaviors or attitudes. Now, these are the clinical indicators for narcissistic personality disorder. I read off 9 of those indicators. You only have to meet, or if we're doing this, we only have to see 5. Some people have all of them. Or it can be a combination of this and this. So you may end up with the primary diagnosis and a secondary diagnosis. Yeah. Actually, you got a couple things going on because you different axes. But yeah, you got a primary, you got a secondary, you may even have a third. You have a diagnosis based on your medical conditions. And then you have something called a GAF, that global assessment functioning, where I may look at you one day and just based on your behaviors for that day, depending on what that GAF is, your behaviors could end up with you being in some type of facility because of your behaviors just from one day. I'm just saying. So, y'all pray for my book, Lord. Just pray for my book, Jesus. I showed you this book when I was on here the other day. Now, contrary to what other people may tell you, when I tell you I do this in real life, I do this in real life. I don't have to make this up. And with some of these behaviors, you can't make this stuff up. Now, my. People that often end up being criminals as adults, you usually see some of these criminal-like behaviors when they are younger. Glue the spine back on. I actually have a good one at work. I got the updated book at work. But I have like 3 of those here and they all bust up. So that's why I just keep them home. But I'm going to try that though. So you have younger people. Thank you, No Tolerance. You have younger people participating in these behaviors, right? And when they're younger, they're considered juveniles, right? And it's not like they're crimes, they're delinquent. Okay, so when it's a smaller or a younger person doing something, I'm about to help y'all catch this right here because some of y'all may be dealing with some of this right now. I know somebody that's dealing with this. When you're younger, these things are considered conduct disorders. So usually whenever you deal with DJJ, DP, like whatever state, like whoever you're dealing with, there's an Office of Juvenile Justice, Department of Juvenile Justice, and Delinquency Prevention. Everywhere. You don't go anywhere without them. There's one in every county. So whenever these things happen when a person is younger, and you can tell because you hear people brag about stuff they did when they were younger, especially people that are criminal-minded because they think it's cool, it gives them points, it gives them kudos, and things of that nature. So I'm going to explain to you what it looks like when you're younger. It's considered a conduct disorder, okay? A conduct disorder. Most of the kids that go through, I'm calling them kids, but most of the young people, the teenagers, the juveniles, that go through the juvenile justice system, most of them, I'm going to say about 90 to 95% of them have a diagnosis of conduct disorder, NOS. Like they got some kind of conduct disorder going on. Maybe conduct disorder not otherwise specified, but they have some type of conduct disorder going on. Now, conduct disorder is a diagnostic term used to represent a group of behaviors characterized by habitual misbehavior, such as stealing, setting fires, running away from home, skipping school, destroying property, fighting, being cruel to animals and people, and frequently telling lies. So you often see this when that person is younger. These behaviors don't just manifest as that person gets older. They don't just pop up. You see it when they are younger. But the more you get to see them, and that's why they say that a person that is criminal minded or a true criminal that also has like psychological issues, it's really hard to tell online because you don't get to see them that often. But when you get to see people often enough, then you are able to identify these behaviors. You actually get to witness, you get to experience these behaviors. It's not just something that somebody said, it's something that you're able to witness for yourself. So the thing is, whenever people see these behaviors, you can't just go and ignore them like they didn't happen. Because what you are doing is you are not only encouraging, you are enabling that person. You are encouraging those behaviors. The only way to change those behaviors is to let people know. Let's play some. Nah, I ain't playing no music right now. I ain't playing no music. Doc got to do what Doc do right now. I got to let this darn PhD go to work sometime. So the book talks about conduct begins in childhood. Misconduct may begin in childhood at the age of 10. So you have CD, which is conduct early onset. Then you have when they're teenagers, conduct disorder, adolescent type. Okay, now you take this conduct order from an adolescent and now you put it into an adult. I'm going to go back to this antisocial behavior. The clinical term antisocial behavior is usually reserved for more serious habitual misbehavior, especially a behavioral pattern that involves direct and harmful actions against others. Direct and harmful actions against others. It is to be distinguished, however, from antisocial personality disorder, because you're getting real deep. A diagnostic label reserved primarily for adults who display conduct disorders as children or adolescents and continue serious offending well into adulthood. Okay. These things start when you are young. So without the proper guidance, without the proper role models, then you see these things as an adult. You got a mess as an adult. You have a mess. Now, I have worked on both sides of this because I was a juvenile probation and parole officer. I worked with DJJ for several years. So seeing this as a child, now when you got everything, you have, when I go to court, or when I went to court for those particular situations, and I meet the parents, sometimes I understand why the children behave the way that they behave. I understand why the juvenile is delinquent. Because sometimes they're modeling behaviors, right? So this is why I say when I see some of the adults on here acting the way that they act, and they are in the later stages of their lives, then I can only imagine what the situation is with their seeds. I'm just saying. I'm just trying to give y'all a little bit, just a little bit. But I want to make sure that we don't get into the place of overlooking certain behaviors, and we have to be mindful that the behaviors that we display, especially if we have young people around us, we have to remember that these younger people are like sponges. And they absorb everything that they do, that we do. They absorb every piece of it. All of it. So I'm going to say you can't, even though I say that I don't like telling people what to do. You can't go and participate in certain behaviors and allow your kids to witness any of those behaviors and think that they're not going to exhibit some of those behaviors, whether they do it around you or not. No respect, disrespect taken, thank you. So that would mean that if somebody called you and told you that your child, grandchild, niece, nephew, dear, whatever, and you know that these behaviors are being exhibited around this child at some point, then them calling you, telling you that they did this stuff instead of being the adult that says, not my so-and-so, they don't do so-and-so, you should already know what to expect. That's what you were watering the plant with. All that stuff that you get these calls about, you were watering the plant with all of this stuff. So the things that people thought were cute coming up, you're seeing this in adulthood, it's not as cute. When they start embarrassing you, it's not as cute, right? So I'm going to go and I'm going to give just a little piece of this to just piggyback on something that I said earlier. We talked about a sociopath. So, you have a sociopath, you have a psychopath. Now, some people tend to use those things interchangeably, but they're actually two different things. So, if you decide to call somebody a psychopath, then you need to be mindful about what you shouldn't do. It's not a good thing to just go around giving people that label anyway. But if you actually know what the stuff means, I mean, okay. So, researchers have come up with different definitions, different meanings for a psychopath and a sociopath, right? So, the purists, the people that fall in the purist category, they define a sociopath as a habitual criminal offender. A habitual criminal offender who has not been properly socialized. I'm not telling you not to call a spade a spade. I said it's just not a good thing to go around saying stuff if you don't know the meaning. Once you know the meaning, that's on you. So I'm just trying to make sure that people have the right meanings for whatever words they're putting out there. That's what I'm saying. This is for informational purposes only. I can't tell nobody what to do. Yes, some people can fall in both categories. Absolutely. So, habitual criminal offender who has not been properly socialized. They define the psychopath as a person who may or may not be criminal and presumably manifest specific, empirically verifiable behaviors and biological predispositions that differ from those of the general population. So the psychopath, they believe that the psychopath has some type of biological, genetic predisposition that comes along with those behaviors, versus the sociopath being someone that, you know how people say, oh, they were raised with wolves. Like a sociopath being someone that has not adapted, has not learned, has not become accustomed to, fails to follow. I'm just throwing all these words up in here, but they just don't follow, don't know, don't adhere to the rules of society. They have not been it's properly socialized. They hadn't been taught. They hadn't been taught to how to do things in public, how to function in society. Let me put it that way. They haven't been taught that. Some researchers, some criminologists just refer to a sociopath as someone who has repetitive behavior. They have their repeat offender. They don't respond appropriately to treatment, rehabilitation, or incarceration. That's what some people defined it as. They believe that repeat offenders are sociopaths. You got a lot of different definitions of what these professionals say these words mean. But at the end of the day, and let me see, because this book, I think it's old. It's like from 2008. Let's see. 2005. Might be older than that. 2005. Touching on this real quick. There was one researcher that emphasized that criminal psychopaths generally lack a normal sense of ethics and morality. They live by their own rules, are prone to use cold-blooded, instrumental intimidation and violence to satisfy their wants and needs, and generally are contemptuous of social norms and the rights of others. In many of these cases, this persistent offending is extremely violent in nature. The ease in which psychopaths engage in dispassionate violence has very real significance for society. And I can go on. I got to make sure I word it the right way because I don't want nobody to say I'm putting some stuff out here. There are certain behaviors that are characteristic of people that fall in these categories. And for me, I am like literally witnessing a lot of these behaviors in real time. And the more that we are exposed to a lot of these behaviors. So you have to proceed with caution. Because again, if someone falls into one of these two categories, a lot of times there are certain behaviors that you expect, but these people can also be unpredictable with certain things if they feel like their back is against the wall. Because remember, they don't like being put down, and they don't like being corrected, and they don't like being held accountable for their actions. So there are certain things that you have to be mindful of with dealing with these people. Also understanding that in some cases you can talk until you are blue in the face because this is their personality. You may not get through. It may take some clinical interventions for somebody to actually get through, for somebody to even penetrate their thoughts, for stuff to start making sense for them. They can tell you it makes sense. They can spit the verbiage to you all day, but when it comes to their actions and their behaviors, then you can tell that there is something lacking there. Because understand that most people that fall into narcissist categories, if they're manipulative, if they're sociopaths, if they're nobody said that they were dumb. Some of them are very intelligent. That's how they are able to successfully manipulate people. So let none of this fool anyone into thinking that that person has deficits intellectually, because that is not the case. Definitely not the case. And this is why there tend to be so many victims, because some folks tend to underestimate these types of people. Put the book back. So basically what I wanted to touch on tonight with you guys is just to really look at what criminal behavior is, what criminal thinking is, and help you like recognize some of the things that you have been seeing out here day to day in your everyday life and out here on these YouTube streets. out here in mainstream media, you have to recognize these behaviors for what they are. And you have to be mindful of whether or not you are contributing to these behaviors. Because if you're not addressing them, then you're contributing to them. If it's someone that you know or that you're familiar with, someone that you're close to, if you are not addressing the behaviors, you know, if you're not a part of the solution and you're part of the problem, that part. That part. No time. It shouldn't be applauded. It shouldn't be applauded at all. It should not. It should not be. It should not be. Again, as I stated at the very beginning, criminal behavior in itself is not indicative of a mental illness. But a lot of people that participate in criminal behaviors often have certain indicators or certain symptoms that would fall under different types of mental illnesses. Impulse control. I keep focusing on that because that's the main thing, because that's the thing that it like goes along with the violent behavior. It goes along with the lies. It goes along with everything. Because you just react before you actually think about something. You just go ahead and do stuff. And then you have to go and try to retrace your steps, and it's just a mess. And it's like the domino effect. One thing affects something else, and that affects something else. And I mean, it just keeps on going. So just because we see the criminal behaviors, that don't mean that they have a mental illness. But it also doesn't mean that they don't. Just saying. So the criminal thinking errors that we went over tonight. The first one was closed channel thinking. That was you not being receptive to what anyone else have to say. You are not doing any evaluations of yourself. You are critical of everyone else. You are not critical of yourself. You don't sit there and try to, see what you have going on. You're good at pointing out other people's faults, giving feedback on other people. Whenever people try to give feedback to you, they gonna get cussed out. They gonna get cussed out. Exactly, sincerely, me, Brie. A lot of them do. A lot of them do. A lot of them do. But the reality of it all, this is just my honest opinion, just doing this line of work for this long. There are certain behaviors that people do that even if they don't have a documented mental illness, it's certain behaviors that you participate in or certain things that you do where it may not be the main reason why you're doing something, but you got some mental issues, if that makes sense. Like it's certain things where people, ain't nothing wrong with them. No, something's wrong with them. Because if it wasn't, then they wouldn't be doing these things. But is that something, excuse to get them off of what they did? No, it shouldn't be. No, they need to accept responsibility for their actions. Unless they're sitting around here with, full like schizophrenia or something like that, and you completely delusional, you hallucinating, you had an auditory and visual hallucinations of the command type telling you to do something, you need to be held responsible for your actions. Now, if you got somebody talking to you up here and they're telling you to do something and you're responding to those hallucinations, that's a little bit different. That's a little bit different, but that's a whole other story. That's a whole other story that we can't get into tonight. But that's a little bit different. those types of cases are, yeah. A lot of people that have those types of, that have that type of diagnosis, a lot of them are in facilities. But the thing is, let's say even if they went to jail, even if they were in prison or whatever, they still require special treatment. So they have to go to like a medical facility that's able to handle those specific types of psychiatric treatment. Hey, T-Ron, how you doing? A lot of places don't believe in locking people up for crimes that they committed that were a result of specific mental illnesses that they have. Like somebody that is schizophrenic and the voices told them to go and rob a bank. Now, I know people say, oh, no, they meant to rob that bank. But when I say that, I mean go and rob the bank in their mind. They don't have a gun. They don't have anything. They just get into the bank. In their mind, their hand is the gun. They're robbing the bank with their hand, literally a handgun. But the police get called because in their mind, they're committing a bank robbery. But in reality, it's not a real bank robbery. Thank God they didn't really have a gun with them, because then, like that kind of stuff, like we have to, and I know that's like, it seems like it's far off, but no, I dealt with that. So it just depends. It like really depends on what's going on, but I just feel like a lot of the stuff that's going on out here, like somebody just said, it doesn't need to be applauded. Absolutely not. And people like really need to look at stuff for what it is. They really need to look at what's going on out here, because some of it it's not just playing around. It's not just playing around. So I'm gonna leave that there. They do act like it. They do. They do act like that. To me, YouTube is, they're reactive versus being proactive. They allow a lot of things to happen. They don't want to be responsible for it. They get all these lawsuits, so they don't want to be involved with whoever. They don't want any parts of it. It's usually when things go to a legal level or to a criminal level where they are contacted, that's when they'll get involved. But just like literally just seeing little, like they are very slow to move. They are very slow to move. Unless there are several people that are reporting the behaviors. But the reporting has to be consistent. And what we have on YouTube is a lot of people reporting, and the reporting is inconsistent, and a lot of it is just false. So now you're giving people more work to do, because they have to go and look and see if this really happened or if that really happened. And when people are putting so many fake things out there, so many fake reports, so many fake strikes, so many fake this, so many fake that, then when you have somebody that has a real situation going on, then it's like the little boy that cried wolf. When the wolf really comes, there's nobody. They're sitting there because they've had so many false calls. And that's what people are dealing with right now. So, and that's sad. But we looked at close thinking. The other one was victim stance. People doing stuff to other people. They are the initiator. They are the aggressor. But, they, in their minds, they're the victim. They know better. But they try to convince themselves that they are the victims. And they convince other people that they are the victims. The other thing was views themselves as a good person. I know I did all this stuff, but I am a good person because look at this stuff that I have going on. Don't look at any of the flaws that I have going on. Just look at the fact that I can do this. I saw someone else reading it. I didn't actually see it myself, but I saw it on someone's channel. We talked about lack of effort. That was the fourth one. Not wanting to do certain things. Acting like they can't do certain things when it's really, I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it. Like when people keep trying to help out, trying to stir you in the right direction, and yeah. The next one was lack of interest and responsible performance. They don't want to do anything that has to do with being responsible. Whether that is, being responsible with their actions, being responsible with their living situation, being responsible with their kids, being responsible in their relationships, being responsible on their jobs, just being responsible, period. Finances, whatever it is, they don't believe in partaking in anything where they have to be responsible. They avoid responsibility like it's Corona. They also have no sense of obligation. They don't, obligations, yeah. Rubbish. They will only respond to things if they see how it will benefit them immediately. Groovy family, that's most of the time. Yeah, that's most of the time. And that's the thing that I'm trying to get people to see. When some people are just talking, okay, you talk. Hey, Mahogany, how you doing? When people start showing certain things, and their behavior start becoming, I'ma almost say like manic in nature. When their behaviors get to that point, especially when you have weapons and stuff like that involved, see, that's when you have to take stuff to another level. Because those types of people can tend to be unpredictable. Like they don't even know what they may be capable of because they lack impulse control and they react first. So I know when I see situations like that, that's why I have to go and get documentation just in case. Just in case I'm put in a place where I have to defend myself. I don't take that stuff to play with. The next thing was lack of time perspective. They refuse to use the things that happened in the past as a learning tool. Whenever they want something done, they expect people to immediately act on whatever their demands are. And that's another thing. They don't make requests. They make demands. They make demands. The next thing was fear of fear. These people are afraid of being put down. So instead of them being put down or giving someone a chance to put them down, then they usually try to go and shoot first. So they're going to come after you. And this has a lot to do with the insecurities and stuff like that, because if I'm not satisfied with myself, then I can't take someone putting me down. I can't take somebody saying this or saying that because I already feel inadequate. So whenever somebody goes and adds on to that, and don't let them touch on something that is like, my Achilles, don't let them touch on something that I'm really insecure about. I already had some type of like issue with already. I had a complex about this particular thing already. Then I definitely have to make sure that I come back or I shoot first. I have to be the first one to send that missile off before they have a chance to come at me. And again, we have to understand, just in case we forgot, people come at you a certain way, especially those people that are always coming with negative stuff, they are basically transferring those insecurities that they have about themselves on to you. They call you ugly because they are insecure about the way that they look. They're calling you fat and all this stuff because they're insecure about their own weight, their own body. They're insecure about that. Now, I'm not talking about somebody calling you something and you responding back to them. We're talking about people just coming out of the blue and just coming with something like, I got to do this to you. Not because you did something to me, but because I did something to me. So in order for me to make myself feel better, then I have to go and try to make somebody feel worse than how I feel, or even make them feel the way that I feel. I got to come at you first. I have to. And the thing with that is, I do this because as long as I am coming at you, and if I do it well enough, then you will be too afraid to come back at me. If I put you down good enough and get everybody going, ooh, then it's going to scare you enough that you're not going to say anything. You don't know what I'm going to do to you if you come back at me and try to put me down. Because I've tried to invoke that fear. But I'm not telling you that I'm scared of my darn self. Y'all seen when you were younger, even as adults, a lot of times the people that pop off the most, that pop off the loudest, that pop off the quickest, are usually the ones who are actually scared to fight. And you end up fighting for them. Or maybe y'all hadn't been around those kind of people. But they got all this rah-rah. They popping off saying all this stuff. And then when it's time to knuckle up, they doing this only because they got you with them. Because they know that you're going to be the one that end up fighting for them. That's what these folks look like. They're actually scared, but they're dependent upon other people to handle situations for them. And they won't dare tell them that they're scared. I'm not afraid. What do you mean? I'm a superhero. I got superpowers. Duh. Duh, you didn't know? Spider-Man. Okay. Okay. The next one. Right. You calling on the other folks, them, them and them. So, superpowers activate. Okay, the next one was power trust. The next one was power trust. Okay, the next one was power trust. You want to have all the power. You want to be in control of everything. Right, knuck if you but right. But they ain't knucking and they for darn sure ain't bucking. Okay. You want to be in control of everything. You want to be the shot caller. You don't want to put in the work, but you want to be in control of everything. Like, nobody else's name better be put over here. And if y'all see this booth out there on this shirt, this is that person's name. And everybody else, these little small letters right here. Okay? My name better stand out. Bump the rest of y'all. Because I'm in control. Even though I don't have control of myself, I'm in control. Oh, also with that power, that person chooses to use manipulation and deceit in order to gain and maintain that power of others. They got them drinking the Kool-Aid. They drinking the Kool-Aid. Bless their little asthmatic hearts. They have them drinking the Kool-Aid. The next one was uniqueness. This type of person with this criminal thinking, they feel like they are special. There's no one else like them. They're like the Don Dada of it all. You know, they're that person. You know, hey, super optimistic. They think they're a superhero. They can't be touched. True story. The last one was ownership attitude. They want to own everything. Everything should be theirs. They feel entitled to everything. But Tyra, they don't want to take responsibility for anything. You want to own stuff. You want to run stuff. You want to be the boss, but you don't want to accept the responsibilities that come along with it. How does that work out? How does that work out? How does that look? Just look at YouTube. That's exactly how it looks. This is exactly how it looks. Now, the thing about this live tonight is I wanted to come and do a little education for tonight. I feel like with all this stuff going on, some other stuff needs to be said. It's time for people to understand what some of this stuff is so they can start calling it out. Because enough is enough, and it was enough a long time ago, right? Also, along with that, and let me see if I can pull something up really quick. Just as a reminder that I have been on YouTube since the start of all this stuff. I think I came on, I think it's going on 2 years now. Right at 2 years. So, well, not just on YouTube, but actually having a channel. And the behaviors and stuff that are going on now, we are still dealing with the same stuff that we were dealing with almost 2 years ago. The behaviors have just gotten worse. As more people come on board, the behaviors have gotten worse. Like, the more attention that people get, the worse the behaviors are. If y'all know what I mean. Because a lot of y'all have been here from the beginning. Where is this at? The feeling that you get from some of these folks and some of their actions and some, I mean, just, ooh, it has so much evil behind it. Just, ugh, like, ugh. I can't. So I say, y'all better be safe. You know what I mean? Hold it in the road. You can't let this stuff get in your system because it is real. It is real. And had I not seen a lot of this stuff for myself, I would not believe that in this day and time, at this day and time, that you would see this kind of stuff like going on. I'm like seeing stuff that's almost darn biblical. I was trying not to say that, Nisimo, but like, I look at folks sometime and I see nothing but, oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, y'all all be safe. Thank y'all for joining in. Thank y'all for kicking it with me. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. But just know this channel is not dedicated to one thing. It is not dedicated to one thing. I love my people in general. Like, and that's real. So I've been put here to help my people. And that's what I intend on doing and continue doing. So if you like it, then subscribe. You know what I mean? If you like the video tonight or whatever, if you got something from it, then like. You know, I appreciate it. Other than that, I bid you all farewell. Shout out to all the dimes that were in here tonight. Nissimo, you absolutely don't play with it. You don't play with it. You sure don't. You don't play with it. Good night, Lulu. Thank you, Alright Solo. Thank you, La Larry. Are you going to? Good night, Mahogany. I was trying to see if I was going to see the end of that question. But yeah. So anyway, shout out to the dimes that are on here tonight. If you're interested in being... the people that are interested in the shirt, then just hit me up on my email. Just hit me up on my email. Just trying not to get into the stuff, because y'all know how this stuff. Oh, they're selling. I don't have time for that. But yeah, so appreciate you guys. I'm gonna get my tail off here because I did not intend to stay on here this long. So if you want to hit me up, my email is carolinaepiphany843@gmail.com. carolinaepiphany843@gmail.com. So we need next why we shouldn't play with the demonic spirits. Nissimo, go check out my video. It was last week. Dealing with spiritual warfare. Check that out and tell me what you think. I touch on things, I just do it in a different way so that people won't feel like, oh, she's just talking about, you know, like spiritual stuff on here. So I try to do my delivery a little bit different, but check that video out and tell me what you think. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good night. Yeah. And I'm going to have a good night. I was supposed to be doing some work, but that ain't going to happen. So appreciate y'all again, and y'all have a blessed one. Bye.